Episode 1: The General's Arrival. It was 1971. I was a young man working in Kampala, Uganda. Everything changed the day Idi Amin took power. I remember the morning clearly. There was tension in the air, soldiers on every street corner, guns in their hands. You could feel something was about to happen. Amin, the army general, had just overthrown President Milton Obote. The radio was playing speeches praising Amin as a hero. People were scared but hopeful. Maybe things would get better, they thought. I wasn't so sure. There was something in his eyes, something cold. As the days passed, the soldiers grew bolder. They searched houses, dragged people away in the night. They said it was to protect the country, but I saw what they did to anyone who spoke against Amin. One by one, my neighbors vanished. Families broken. Fear ruled the streets. The disappearances begin. I worked at a small shop in town near the main road. I started noticing fewer customers coming in. People were staying inside, terrified. Every few days, trucks would pass by with soldiers in them. They didn't look like they were on patrol. They looked like they were hunting. One evening, I heard a rumor from a friend. He said his cousin had been taken by Amin's secret police, the State Research Bureau. They were targeting anyone who was loyal to Obote or anyone Amin saw as a threat. His cousin never came back. Soon, more people I knew began disappearing. Sometimes all that was left was blood in the street, a warning to the rest of us. We didn't dare ask questions. Asking could get you killed. The Nile becomes red. There's a part of the Nile River that runs through Uganda. Beautiful water, peaceful. But something strange started happening. Bodies began appearing in the river, floating downstream. At first, we didn't understand where they were coming from. Then we heard the stories. People whispered that Amin's men were throwing bodies into the river after torturing them. Sometimes you'd see 3, 4 bodies at a time. It was horrifying, but no one dared speak of it openly. If the wrong person heard you, you'd be next in that river. I remember walking by the river one evening. The water had turned red in some places, stained with blood. I knew that things were only getting worse. The Purge. By 1972, Amin had turned on his own people. The Indian community in Uganda, once prosperous, was now a target. Amin accused them of sabotaging the economy and ordered all Asians to leave Uganda within 90 days. Many fled, leaving everything behind. Those who couldn't escape, well, they disappeared. We heard the screams from the State Research Bureau. People would be dragged in and no one ever saw them again. Torture chambers were everywhere. I remember a man who worked for the government. He refused to carry out Amin's orders. They took him away in front of his wife and children. The next day, his body was found with signs of unspeakable torture. No one was safe anymore. Amin had become paranoid, constantly fearing a coup. He started accusing anyone he disliked of plotting against him. One night, soldiers stormed our neighborhood, kicking in doors and pulling men into the streets. They said they were looking for traitors. My heart raced as they knocked on my door. I opened it shaking, praying they would pass by. But they didn't. They dragged me out, accusing me of conspiring with enemies of the state. They threw me into a truck with others, and we were taken to a dark, cold place I had only heard about in nightmares. Inside, we were lined up, one by one, questioned by Amin's men. The smell of death hung in the air. I thought it was the end. By some miracle, they let me go. They must have realized I wasn't important enough to keep. But many others weren't so lucky. I heard their screams as I left that terrible place. I fled Uganda that very night. I couldn't stay any longer. The country had become a living nightmare under Idi Amin. So many lives lost. So much blood spilled. I don't know how I survived, but I did. And I can never forget what I saw. Even today, decades later, the memories of those dark times haunt me. The world called him the Butcher of Uganda, and I saw firsthand why.